talking to a call for L, and that was a major song, man. What are some of the meditation practices that you're doing to, get to the level that you're striving to get on, the level that you're at right now? What are some of the meditation practices that you're doing to actually do that?
Well, I developed kind of a whole strategy, like a complete, I would say, I don't even really have a name for it yet as of this point, but it's a whole system for basically transformation. It involves basically working with the Kundalini energy, and it has 7 levels, and it starts out basically on the ground floor, and it takes you up through the 7 chakras. I'm going to work with certain people to reveal it, the different actual techniques that you use to go through it. But I don't want to really give the whole thing out over the radio. But I'll explain the 7 levels that it takes you through. The first level that you master is the control of the body. The second would be the control of the mind. Then after you control the mind, or really achieve stillness of mind, you'll be able to get to the third level, which would be able to sense the subtleties in nature. When I say subtleties in nature, I'm talking about, let's say, a subtlety of nature that everybody knows about would be gravity. But there are others. There are others that are not well known. There would be the occult subtleties of nature. Then, after you are able just to sense them, you can start to work on controlling them. Then the 5th level would be able to control gross nature, which would be actually that's when you get to actual metaphysical powers. And then the 6th level would be having an all-knowing mind, where you'd be able to tap into the Akashic records at will. And then the 7 would be light, becoming a light being, where your body actually is transfigured. I'm on the 3rd level right now, so I've been working on it for a few months. So what people, the one thing that I want people to realize is that it's something that can happen if you give intense training to it. People work 40, 50, 60 hours for these dollars. And the reason is because they have evidence of what dollars can bring around them. We don't have any evidence of a spiritual nature around us. We really don't, and most people don't want it. There's going to be a select few people that have been born in recent times that want evidence of something they have not seen, and they want to work on something that they've not seen. And that's based on complete faith. And these are the ones that are going to be the meek people that inherit the earth, as the Bible says. And this is a game plan that I'm working on so that we will have some kind of a strategy. I'll give people something that they can start immediately, just as, let's say, as preliminary work, something I call the Om dynamic breath, or the ODB.
All right,
what you want to do? What you want to do is you want to breathe in and out without holding your breath at all. And when you breathe out, you just want to vibrate the word Om. And you have to do this. You can't just do this for 5 minutes and say, well, nothing happened. You have to work on this for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, for long periods of time. And when you do this, you want to pretty much contract your abdomen muscles. When you breathe out, you want to contract them, and when you breathe in, you want to expand your abdomen like it's a balloon filling with air. And you want to try to tighten your pelvic muscles as much as you can. And what I want people to see if they can do, if anybody's listening and they have the determination to try it, just by this exercise alone, if you work on it long enough and if you're diligent enough, you can start to develop superhuman hearing and superhuman smell. Like I'm talking about being able to hear shit across the street that you shouldn't be able to hear, shit like that. Hearing other people's conversations down at the end of the block that you shouldn't be able to hear. So if anybody wants to work on that, and what it's going to do is that once you get those little bit of results, it's going to give you some kind of evidence that this shit is real. And then that should be enough for the right person to go forward.
Wow. Now he's dropping jewels now. He's dropping jewels. Now, a lot of things are changing on the earth. Global warming, that's a big hot button that a lot of people are talking about. Al Gore, the former vice president, even made a documentary called The Inconvenient Truth about global warming. What excites you about the changes that are happening? And shout out to everybody in the chat room. I see you, Elemental, please. What he asked the same question that I had. What excites you about the coming changes and the changes that are happening right now on the earth?
Who did you say was in the chat room? Because I'm not online right now. Who was that?
We got, man, shout out to
Elemental, please.
Shout out to Elemental, please. Shout out to Water Like Jen. Shout out to Phenom.
Tell that
all of those people.
Elemental, please, to call. I've been trying to call him for like the last month. And I must have the wrong number or something. But we're supposed to be working on a project together, and I was trying to touch base with him on it. But what excites me about the shift that's taking place? Damn, man. That's like a broad question. Damn. How can I answer that? I would say the first thing that comes to my mind is we've been taught and raised up that from the people who have been in charge that there's a division between us and nature. And this is a recent thing in the last couple of 100 years, but this is how we were brought up. Kind of like nature is our enemy. And the thing that excites me the most is that the wall between us and nature is becoming more porous, and it's really falling apart. It's deteriorating to the point where you can feel like tonight I felt like the moon was giving me a certain kind of a message or a certain kind of an energy. Or there's been times where I feel like I can almost communicate with animals. But there's times where I feel like I know what the weather's going to be without having to look at the weather report. And it's just a weird kind of thing where you can feel the trees now. You can feel the presence of plants and shit like that. Like the barrier that we had this block up between us and nature, and I feel it's starting to crumble a little bit. Exactly. That's an exciting shit to me. I don't know. And another thing, like, the fucking Falcons, man. Like, I'm coming out with an album. It's going to be called Falcon King. Did you ever see...
Falcon King, okay.
Did you ever see, like, the Batman movie from the late 80s or the early 90s, where Michelle Pfeiffer was Catwoman? And I don't know if she was murdered or if she committed suicide or whatever, but all these cats came and brought her back to life. Like, I don't know if that was her particular magical animal or something or whatever, but that's the Falcons for me, man. These motherfuckers are watching me, following me, they're protecting me, they're keeping me on track. It's like they're bringing me back to life. I'm communicating with them. It's gotten to the point, like a year ago, I started trying to videotape it and put it online, and it's got to the point where it's like if you live in the city, it would be like trying to videotape, I don't know, something redundant like taxis or pigeons. Like I gave up on trying to keep up with it. It's that crazy, but I don't really understand it yet. But that's my magic animal. So like I'm saying, like the connection with nature is getting back to the way it used to be, man. And it's real crazy. It's real exciting.
Well, I know they had a story on the news recently about a girl that was abducted in Nigeria, and she was protected by all these lions and stuff like that. So, what you're talking about is something that is relevant and that is happening in the world. What are you said you're recording your transformation. Now, how is that going?
Here's the thing. Another reason that I took my hiatus is because I realized until I do what I need to do, I'm no different than anybody else who I had grown to resent. You know what I'm saying? I had to take an honest look at myself and realize I'm just a nigger talking. Like, I haven't done shit. Like, point blank. Even, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, it's humbling to be able to look at yourself and be honest and say that. Nobody wants to say that. But I haven't. You know what I'm saying? So I figured I got to get to work on myself and become what is needed. And I have to create that change in myself, and it needs to be documented. So, so I just decided, like, the new thing is reality TV and shit, right? Like, everybody's addicted to this shit. But what it comes down to, what it boils down to, is usually a bunch of bitches arguing and pulling weaves and throwing drinks. Like, that's supposed to encapsulate reality, right? But I think reality TV should be based on what time it is right now, which is this shift that we're going through, this change. And I would encourage everybody to do this. You know what I mean? We all have a camera or access to one, or if you're not, you can save up pocket change and get one in this day and age. Get a high def for under $100. You know what I'm saying? So,
exactly. But
I have had so many supernatural experiences in my life, and most of them have not been, I would say 80% of them have been things that if I had a camera, it couldn't be caught on camera. It was either a dream or a vision or a lucid experience or something, or a magic ritual or an expansion of consciousness or something. And maybe 20% of them have been things where now that I look back on it, I said, damn, I should have recorded that shit. You know what I'm saying? So over the course of the next year, I'm sure that there's going to be some supernatural shit that happens. And I'm gonna record it. One of the main things that I want to do, and hopefully it will happen by the end of the year, is how can I explain it? I'm in contact with these beings, man, and I want to try to get them on camera. If I can do that shit, I think it will take the world by storm, for real. And I'm not talking about no tin cans. I'm talking about the real shit. Like, what people need to understand is that we are a galactic people. we've been quarantined here for whatever reason. I'm not going to go into that for the sake of time, but we haven't been completely abandoned. You know, there's a certain chain of events that has to take place, and we have to pretty much work at it to save ourselves before the quarantine can be lifted and we can get in contact with the rest of the beings out there, which is basically us.